So this time, quitting Kratom feels different. Feels different because I feel the pull of going back, or at this point rather, increasing my dose. I feel it less, almost zero, because I'm using like a kind of a taper, like just stepping down slowly over time. And life in the past and presently gives you reasons that are totally logical, and nobody would blame you if you went ahead and increased your dose back up, or went back into that vice, or whatever that thing is that gives you whatever it is that people seek, that they need, whatever that comfort thing is. Life will give you reasons. Life is giving me reasons. I'm about to be 41 in the next few weeks. Not a big fan of aging. I don't think a lot of people are. Once you stop counting half birthdays, it becomes a lot less fun. And I didn't imagine at this stage in my life I would be where I am in many ways. But some of them actually really good. It's not all negative. Almost nothing's ever all negative. But just with work, with being a blue collar guy, especially in my trade, I do granite, marble, slab, stone, like whatever, granite, marble, quartz, quartzite, soapstones, doesn't matter. But the shit is big and it's heavy, and I've always enjoyed it. I've always liked it. I've kind of had I don't know, more natural strength than most people do. Not like in an absurd way, not like those weightlifter guys that you see, like the Anatoly videos where the dude can, he's 160 pounds or whatever and can lift 500-pound deadlifts with one hand or whatever it is. I've never been that kind of strong. But when you just have a group of 10 guys in a room or whatever, I'm usually 9th or 10th strongest. Near the top of the list on average. And I'm still strong, and that's good. But I never really imagined I would have a lot of the other things still kind of pressing on me, still having to do the really strong things, being in my 40s now, still having to kind of take orders, or like recently in the last few weeks, months, like legitimately what could only be described as getting bullied at work, which is a crazy thing to say, as like, I'm about to be 41. I'm like, well, I got bullied today. Like, what the fuck? That's kind of crazy. And I think a lot of people that fall on the spectrum of nice understand that you get your kindness taken for weakness a lot along the ride, and it's just kind of part of it. You just kind of learn to accept it. But definitely, as somebody who has at least some addictive qualities in their personality, that is one of those reasons. That's one of those reasons where you're like, yeah, I can step up my dosage a few times today because I'm getting bullied at work. And like, that shit is stressful, man. Like, who the hell wants to deal with that kind of shit at work? I mean, you don't want to deal with it ever. Let alone, like, work is hard enough. Especially like a blue collar job. I mean, I know all jobs are hard. I'm not trying to say one's any harder than other. Everybody's hard is the same kind of hard, basically. Because the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. But I just mean when you already have a physically demanding job or a mentally demanding job, and then there's things added in on top of it, like somebody bullying you or somebody out to get you or somebody this or somebody that. And I know it's all about perspective. I totally understand that. And that's a fair point. Definitely. Because everybody is going through something. But the thing is I have never been the type to take out what I'm going through on anybody else. Aside from like my dad when I was younger, you know. You're mad at your dad? Yeah, I was mad at my dad. I shouldn't have been, but I was. You know, stupid teenager shit. But I would never take out my anger on somebody else at work because I realize that's a me thing. My anger is me. Like, I need to chill the fuck out. I need to stop feeling like this. Like, this isn't that person's fault. Like, I have chosen this path in life. But honestly, what is it? 5%, 10% of people that actually understand that? Maybe less, I don't know. Because it seems like a lot of people will literally take out their anger on other people, and they're totally fine just blaming others for how they feel. Well, that's kind of the situation I've been in for a while now. And again, it's my fault. I've put myself in this situation. But like most things in life, nothing is black and white. So I'm not in a situation where it's all bad. I'm in a situation where it's like, dude, there's a crazy amount of potential and upside, and like, if I do this right, you know, I think I could grow this company. I've been in the trade for over 20 years, but I've only been at this company I've been at this time for like less than a year, something like that. And it's all real old school, like pencil and paper. The old man that owns the place uses the landline. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's old school. And the dude is incredible. He runs around and does more shit in a given day than you've probably seen. And it's amazing, but it's one of those things that needs the internet brought into it, because you need to be able to, you know, kind of scale and expand your efforts and give some of your workload to other people, because you can only grow so big as a company if you do everything yourself. You know, you have to be able to put people in management in different sections. You have to put people in supervisory roles in different sections, and you have to let them do their thing. You have to put people where they're good and be like, all right, you do that, and I'm going to handle this. Come to me if there's any issues. Otherwise, just let them do the thing. So there's a lot of potential upside at this place. The downside is I'm almost 41 and I'm getting bullied at work because it's a family business. And I'm one of 3 people out of the 8 people or whatever that aren't family. So family stuff is complicated. I understand it's complicated. It's real complicated. And blue collar jobs, as it is, can be a little bit more complex than you would think they need be, because there's a lot of addiction in the trades. Like, anybody that's gone into a construction zone understands, you know, each trade kind of has their thing, bro. Like, the drywallers, you know, might kind of drink on the job a little bit. You'll see their mud pans with, like, you know, some beers in it, shit like that. Or the painters are outside smoking weed, and if you get in a talk with one of the painters, you're going to be there for a while. Like, all the trades kind of have their thing. And I mean, to each their own. Like, I don't have anything against it, provided you don't take out your shit on other people. And you got to pull your weight. You know what I mean? You got to be especially in my trade, you have to be safe to work with, because I have seen people get hurt, man. I mean, there's times I'm moving 1,000-pound pieces, 1,200-pound pieces. There's times there's 6 or 7 of us, and we're putting an 800-pound piece up on a wall, and we have to move it up step by step on scaffolding to stick this damn thing on some rich person's fireplace. And I love all that shit, but you have to be able to trust the guys that you're doing this shit with. So obviously, you don't want somebody to be like inebriated while they're doing those things, because you have to be able to trust them. But it does happen, because the shit hurts your body. So like, that's another one of those reasons life will give you. Like, hey man, you have moved like 6 tons worth of stone this week, upstairs here and downstairs over there, and you got your foot smashed over here and this and that, and you're the oldest guy on the crew, and totally reasonable for you to take an extra this or that or whatever. Life will give you reasons. But even though I'm getting fucking bullied at work, like, I'm not going back, man. I'm not backsliding. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it, because part of the whole thing with starting this channel and everything is that I don't want to be dependent solely on a blue collar, 9 to 5 or 7:30 to 3:30, as it were, income. Like, I've been unbelievably fortunate in my life, like the whole, I was sad I had no shoes till I saw a man that had no feet. Like, I understand perspective. I can delineate the difference between like my terrible and somebody else's terrible, and I can, at the end of the day, realize shit could be so much worse, because it could. It absolutely could. I'm fortunate. I'm able-bodied. I'm primarily healthy, albeit sore AF a lot of the time, because I've been doing this trade for a long time, and I don't take as good of care as I should. Anybody that's in the trades, man, get into some yoga, get into some fitness type stuff, because the only way you beat up and use up and break down your body is when you don't do the recovery things, when you don't do the stretching, when you don't spend time doing things that actively recover all of your abilities, all of your strength, all of your flexibility, all of your, what do they call it, fascia, all of that shit. You can legitimately be good deep into your 70s and 80s if you spend 4 or 5 hours a week doing all the other stuff. If you have a repetitive stress type job and you're constantly, like with me, if I'm fabricating and I'm looking down all the live long day, all day, and I'm only using the right side of my body because that's my dominant hand, it's my smart hand, it's the only hand that really knows how to polish that well, I have to do a ton of things throughout the week to counteract that shit. But if I do those things, I can be really, really physically much, much better than I would be if I don't do those things. So don't fall into the trap of, he used up his knees, he used up his back, he used up this, he used up that. No, he didn't. That's wrong. He just didn't do all of the things to recover those things. Your body can recover, can rebuild, can recoup, can regain strength, can do all of these things. I recently started watching a video series with a lady in England, I believe, that's like a news anchor or something like that, or a journalist. And she's in her 50s and she started working out, and her parents are in their 80s and they're doing deadlifts and shit, like straight up for real deadlifts. And it's not a ton of weight, but like the mom went from using a cane, the mom, like the one in her 80s, went from using a cane to like putting the cane away and putting on a weightlifting belt. And she's out in the garage doing deadlifts, you know, and she's up to like 100 pounds or some shit like that. You know, it's great. Your body can do incredible things. Just give it the time and attention and shit that it needs to actually recover and rebuild itself. Anyway, that was a little side quest, I guess. But life is definitely giving me reasons right now. My back hurts, my neck hurts. You know, I'm driving to work right now. Like, let's see what today has in store. You know what I mean? Like the other day, my apron ends up under a fucking table. Somebody breaks my fan, scratches the top I've been working on. Like, legitimate bullying stuff. And, you know, part of me wants to fight back, and I am quite capable of it. I spent the first few decades of my life being that kind of guy, being the kind of guy that will, you know, hurt somebody or lash out and get in a fight with somebody or something like that. And I just don't want to be that anymore. And people think because I don't do those things and because I am nice and I give people the benefit of the doubt, that I'm weak. And a lot of people do it to a lot of people. And, you know, there's a part of you that's like, dude, I'm just going to beat the absolute shit out of this guy. And then I feel bad for thinking that, because I'm like, no, man, you've come too far. You don't need to do that. You're stronger than that. You're better than that. You can take it a different direction this time. And that's when, like, the substances or the Kratom in my situation comes back, and it's like, dude, just take a little extra, bro. This shit's hard, man. But I'm not going back this time. I'm not going to do it. And it's taken years for me to get to this point, to this level of maturity, to where I can actually be like, nah, man, just take it. Take the beatings. You've spent too much time kind of taking the easy way out. Even though there's nothing easy about life at all. And even when you're taking the easy way out, it ain't that fucking easy. Still isn't that fucking easy. But it's easier. And there's a lot of people who are a lot worse off doing a lot harder things that don't succumb to the easier path, even if it's only 5% or 10% easier. Because the reality is, there's no biological free lunch. So me taking this or taking that to counteract this mental trauma or this physical pain or whatever, there is going to be some type of trade-off. Even if the trade-off is only in self-respect. Is it worth it at the end of the day? No. When I'm 150 years old, because I plan on living about that long, and laying in my deathbed or whatever it is, am I going to be like, yeah, I pulled that vice trigger a bunch of times when I could have made it without it? No, I'm not going to be happy about that. I'm not going to be proud of that. I'm going to be proud of saying, yeah, I was getting fucking bullied at 40 and I remained strong and I didn't hurt somebody that deserved it. I didn't lash out, when I very well could have. I didn't take the extra substance or any of those things. I dealt with it like how I would want myself to deal with it looking back, from the future, from 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, doesn't matter. Looking back from heaven, whatever it is, I would want myself to be able to get by without taking the easy road. So this time is different, but it's important that I tell myself a lot of these things too. Because for the last 10 years, I've taken the easier path, and I'm not doing that anymore. Not doing it anymore. So, I love you. I hope you have a great day.